Hello, once again, welcome to New Meta Podcast, episode 105. Today, we did promise that we might do an episode on casting spells. That blockbuster episode remains in the works, sorry to disappoint no one. But instead, episode on playing the mid lane, sort of like a general pub guide, I would suppose, to playing mid. We've done some of these in the past on specific roles. We'll no doubt do them again in the future. But today, my favourite lane, the one in the middle of the action, mid. Marco, welcome to the pod. You ready to talk some mid lane?
Hell yeah, very excited. Interesting role. The fact that you're spamming it a little bit now gives us good reason to crack it out again. I think it would be good to have a good discussion about the mid.
Yeah, no doubt. I famously said I was switching to carry after I was... What was it? I was psychologically matched with a carry player, according to a YouTube video that I watched. Yeah. And that's gone straight out the window after some failed carry games, and now we're back to where I belong in the mid lane, so yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm sure it was like 2 games that you lost on one, and then you were just straight back to mid.
Yeah, it was going fine, actually, to be fair. I think it was the way that the losses were transpiring or something. I can't remember, whatever. I just wanted to play Lina and Meepo or something.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
I'm happy for you to take the mid, because I don't like going there anymore, so if you're happy to go mid, it leaves my one available.
Yeah, leaves the guild sort of no drama in the guild, no fighting for roles, so that's fine. Yeah. Adam, likewise, welcome to the pod. Someone with some very annoying, famous mid-heroes. The mid-lich comes to mind, among other things.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time since I busted that guy out.
Yeah.
He was kind of all predicated on sacrifice, being a mechanic, so...
Yeah. Do you remember that one, Marco? The Adam Lich, like 4 levels ahead of the enemy mid, even though they haven't even... They're both like 0-0-0, and Adam's just like 3 levels ahead.
Yeah, I remember doubting that mid Lich, and then he proved us wrong. They went really well.
Too strong. So let's start with a question, which this week comes from...
Mojo.
Mojo, there you go. His question is, what are the special occasions in which Come Dine With Me partakes in an ice-cold Mountain Dew? Also, a preferred delivery method, i.e. can, bottle, glass, etc., etc.
Syringe.
Syringe, yeah. Special occasions, I gotta say, like, I am that guy that if you go to a restaurant and I'll say, like, what do you like to drink? And I say, I'll have a Diet Coke, please. And they're like, is Diet Pepsi okay? I'll be like, no. No, and then I switch to a Mountain Dew.
Oh, no. Is that for real?
Yeah, because Mountain Dew is a Pepsi product, so it's like one of the only redeemable products in their swath of beverages that I like. Because Mountain Dew is better than Mellow Yellow, by far, in my personal... It's the original.
Okay.
So that's probably the only real occasion that I still get it. It's like a treat, because I don't buy it for myself. But preferred delivery method, bottles always better, or glass bottles always the best. But those are special, even specialer occasions, rare.
That is rare. I've ever seen that.
Glass bottle soda is just better. I don't know what it is. And then probably just a cold can. Plastic bottle, too much soda in it. It gets warm before you can have it. And if you have it with ice in a glass, it gets too watery. I like to keep my dew pristine.
Marco, do you want to weigh in on this Pepsi versus Coke? I mean, do you have opinions on this? Can you tell the difference?
Probably could tell the difference a little bit. I probably don't have much opinion to share on the topic. Happy to let it slide.
Well, yours tastes different. You guys don't have the... I mean, you guys get bottled over there. It's different.
We also have less sugar in it, I believe.
You guys might actually have sugar in it versus corn syrup.
The diet, I see. The diet products I don't know about, but I know
Diet's got aspartame in it.
Yeah, I think our diet stuff has that in it as well. I remember talking to someone about that. But our regular ones don't have less sugar because they changed the formulas a while ago because we added some fat tax on really sugary stuff.
Nice.
So I believe that's the case. I would throw out a word in defense of the plastic bottle. If it's in ice, the plastic bottle itself, the best drink I've ever had in my life was through a plastic bottle. And that was on a boiling hot day. It was actually in America, it was in the US when I went to visit, and we were in Six Flags Magic Mountain, great theme park by the way, and it was, for some reason, they don't let you take in water or food.
Yeah.
So we had no water, so I was like cripplingly dehydrated, and it was super boiling hot day. And then there was this fella selling Sprite in like ice buckets or whatever, and it was maybe one of the most like euphoric, thirst quenching moments of my entire life.
Sprite. Yeah. That's nice. Nothing's better than that first sip of something like ice cold on a hot day. So good. I would say also, if you've ever had a Mountain Dew Icy, those are amazing. But you guys don't have ices at all.
No, we didn't used to have Mountain Dew at all. I remember when it was introduced here.
Yeah, but like an icy, you guys don't have ices either, right?
No.
This is getting pretty regional. I don't know how far the Weigel's chain of gas stations goes in the United States, but they sell what it equates to like a slushie.
I see.
I suppose, where like it's just a bunch of really fine ice with Mountain Dew syrup as the flavoring. That is real good too on a summer day.
Yeah. Well, enough of this nonsense about sun, because we're here to talk about Dota 2, and none of us ever see the sun. So, how have games been? Marco, have you been up to much in the Dotaverse this week?
In the last couple of days, I've been bashing my head against what's it called? The Apex level 5 lab. I've been
Apex Mage
round. Been enjoying the QoP. So that was one of the new heroes that came out. I am a QoP fan, and just it's quite fun to blink around and use lots of screams and daggers. To no avail. Real games, nothing notable apart from one smashy Void Spirit mid, which was like just a romp of a game, but was kind of fun because Void Spirit's fun when you're winning. Aside from that, yeah, it's all about the lab. But yeah, I guess a game of mid in the last few days though, so I am very well prepared for this episode.
Excellent. What was that hero?
Void Spirit.
Void Spirit. Yeah, you did already say actually, I suppose. Adam, games. I mean, you haven't been just bashing around with the level 5. You've actually been. Yeah,
last night I have bested the Apex Mage. Finished the level 5 difficulty. I'm glad I it's like, okay, I'll do one more run at like 1 a.m. or something. It's like, I'll do it. And then that was it. Got the run done. On Ursa, I basically did the cheese build. We had Ursa, Quap, Winter Wyvern, and Disruptor. And I basically soloed the last 4 rooms all by myself. What was it? Oh, I soloed Tiny IO room, the PA Bandit Arrow room, Blazon and Frozon, and then Apex Mage. I did all those on my own. Like,
wow.
Pretty much, because the build is so obnoxious. Like, you don't actually take any damage.
So you take no damage in your ult, and then your ult's got 100% uptime.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to know the build, so it's pretty terrible early on. You're pretty dead weight. I mean, you're going to still spam spells, but you're not a big damage dealer. And you go Octarine Core, Yule's BKB. So it's like all just not damage. And then you save up gold at the end, you get a Spell Prism. Buy it from the shop if one doesn't drop during the run. And the goal throughout the run is to take every elite and get either enrage cooldown reduction, enrage duration, and the big important one is enrage damage reduction percentage. So I had 100% damage reduction on enrage. It had a 9.1 second cooldown, and it lasted 9.2 seconds. So I had 100% uptime. That's without Arcanist potions, but you buy those too. Then it's just like, because that's another 60% spell cooldown reduction. So it's just like you have all your spells up to where it's just obnoxious. And then my talents, I had when you press Enrage, you do your Earth Shock all around you every second. So every Enrage cast Earth Shock 9 times. And every time I casted Earth Shock, I went into Slark Ultimate. So I was untargetable and 100% damage reduced. So Apex Mage couldn't do any damage. It took a lot of time because I didn't really do a lot of damage, and most of it was spell damage. But you just kind of sit there and just hit him, and he
doesn't really matter when you're taking literally no damage. So
yeah, we at first, because everyone just like bought me stuff at the end because they were like, well, it doesn't matter, you're going to carry it on your own. Like they just kept giving me everything, and then I bought like all 3 lives, and I was like, well, let's just play it like normally. And, he's still going through all the motions, like casting all his spells, diving all over the place, killing my teammates. And we do that, and he's like down to 15% maybe. And then Saul finally dies, and then it's just me. And then Aghanim doesn't move the rest of the game. We realized like it would have been much easier if everyone just suicided right at the beginning, and I just did it all on my own because he wouldn't have moved. Like I could have just sat there and spammed all of my spells, and he just was like, there's no one here.
Yeah.
There's no one to target, so...
Yeah, seems good. Aghanim's completed. Or do you think they'll add in another level and some heroes or something? Probably... what do you think? Probably not.
They're running out of space to, like, add things. Because with level 5, now elite rooms have 5 talents or perks, and, like, the boss rooms have 1 perk now, too. So I don't know what else to add. I guess you just keep adding them.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's a really fun mode, though. But now I don't know what to do. It's like I beat Apex Mage. I have all 40 of the blessings. So it's just over.
And you have a number next to your name, so there's no point playing ranked. So
I guess I just need to keep carrying you through the different AGS levels.
Yeah, quite possibly. Which does bring me quite nicely onto my games, which involves finally defeating the level 2 AGS lab with Adam just before this recording.
Stand Viper, Pog.
Yeah, the Viper, which I've actually trotted out in a couple of games this week anyway, normal games, 1 ranked, 1 unranked. This week it was a return of 2 of my most played heroes. 2 of my most played heroes that I hadn't touched for months, including my most played hero with Meepo. I hadn't played this hero for literally 8 months, and then I finally dusted off the Meepo a couple of days ago, played like a normal game, just in a 3-stack, and it was like the dream Meepo game. I had crazy net worth. I had Treads, E-Blade, Blink, Scardy, Hex at 24 minutes, so I was just like flying in, just classic Meepo, pure snowball game, and that gave me the confidence, the false confidence, to pick this hero in ranked, which interestingly gave a little bit of inspiration for a couple of the talking points about picking heroes that I'll go into later, because it was a terrible Meepo pick. It was a really bad place to pick the hero for 2 reasons, but 1 in particular. That I'll get back to that in a bit. Also, OD came out again, another hero that I haven't played for a long time because it's been really bad. OD came out again, very successful in both games, I would say. And yeah, not a whole lot else to report. I'm at 91%, I believe, Ancient 4, so again, if I just get some games in, I'm sure we'll be back to Divine, and then the pod will have legitimacy again. And as Marco pointed out, that means we can rank. So we can actually do some new meta ranking, which would be quite exciting. Very exciting.
Been quite a bit of fun with the guild gaming, though.
Definitely, yeah. Guild game is excellent. Continues to be super good. I'm on a 7 win streak on Viper, so the old hero resurfaces to get me MMR. Also, Underlord. I played... This is kind of odd. Everyone says you get hard carry every time you queue all rolls, and I'm doing ranked rolls, so every now and then I have to queue all rolls. The last 2 times I've done it, I've got offlane, which is kind of odd.
That is like a never happened to me before, ever.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like 2 times in a row, I just got 3. Yeah. And I just pick Underlord and win. And it's just, in my brain, I know I should just select offlane, pick Underlord, and just win every game. Yeah. But my heart and sort of like my soul and my essence just doesn't want to chain pick Underlord every game of Dota.
Pick offlane and pick Bloodseeker.
Yes. That's the
MMR for you.
That's the source right there, the offlane Bloodseeker. What could go wrong?
I'm 2-0 on that. That is so strong.
Really? Yeah, I see you're actually good enough to play it. I feel like in my level and all lower level pubs, the offlane Bloodseeker is just a grief picker.
Yeah, grief.
Good enough. What is? There's nothing to do. You just cast the spells.
No, but that's the point. They don't do anything. They play like they're POS 1 and they just farm camps, and it's like you don't have a 3.
You watch the Jenkins video and he tells you exactly what to do. It's so brain dead. He's just like, you stand at the rune, at the first bounty rune. No one will contest you because you have this like 120 pure damage nuke in a circle. If they do contest you, you win the fight. And then it's just like, here's your first item builds. When you start off, okay, the first wave has come up. Hit the range creep twice. Put down your blood right. And now you've got level 2 before them and you've pushed the wave into their tower. And you just do that over and over again and pull and reset and just do that. And you just, it's like,
made Dota sound so easy.
Yeah, he made it sound really easy. And I tried it and I was like, oh my God, this is out of this world. Just, you hit the first range creep and then you win the lane.
There's definitely something to be said about, from the off lane and the POS 4, pushing the lane and then pulling every wave. I've seen that quite a bit in high MMR pubs as well. People picking heroes like, or any hero with a nuke, but Bloodseeker counts as well. Something like Phoenix with the Fire Spirits, Underlord with the Q. You just push the lane hard and then you just pull, and they can't contest if they've got.
They either lose a whole wave under the tower, or they just. I mean, they're going to miss CS, or they're going to run out of regen, and then you just pull it, and then you deny another wave from them. It's just so good. But you're probably right. They probably are building it wrong because it's not the normal item build. It's like you go Veil, Yules, Greaves, Ags, something like that. Probably the Ags have just been so far ahead. You probably can just get Heaven's Halberd or something.
Yeah.
Or BKB, but it really is just as easy as like Greaves and Veil. The Yules is so nice because you can use it to like throw someone in the air and then land your blood right, or just the normal I rupture someone, they TP out, and I Yules them. I don't know. Yeah. It's so interesting that he's like he's usually what like you think you wouldn't want out of an offlaner. It's like, oh man, this right clicker, not really that big of like a team fight spells, but it's like rupture is such insane initiation from so far away. It's kind of like a Doom because they can't like move. And then if you aren't worried about hitting people all the time, you're just casting Blood Right on like I don't even know what that cooldown is.
12?
12, yeah. And if you get 2 of those off in a fight, it's like so much space denial or damage. You're just like this spell guy now. I like it. And you're still getting the Greaves, so you're actually an offlane.
You say it's easy to play, but you know, this is someone who's winning MMR with mid Viper, Atos, Greaves. So is it that easy to play, really?
I don't know. I'm surprised you have a 7 with Viper. Viper's classic win lane, lose game. So that you've won 7 games in a row with this guy that is like historically can't close out a game is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, he's sort of a bit of a weaker laner than the classic Viper, and more of a farmer with the W. You know, ever since they changed that W, now it's more like win lane, build Atos, build Greaves, win game because you have Greaves and Atos. That's basically
I'd like to nominate Viper for worst level 25 talent in the game.
What, the move speed or something?
Poison attack on buildings.
Oh yeah. Are the talents different in Apex mode?
Some of the useless ones.
Yeah, because I was so
changed.
confused. I was picking Viper and it gave me move speed at 25, and I was like, that's not a thing.
That's a Pog talent. That's so good in the Apex.
Yeah, poison attack buildings is terrible, especially compared to nether toxin silencers. My goodness.
It used to be 20, and it was like plausible. And then they moved it to level 25, and it's like, why would I ever do this? Ever.
Let's go on then to mid, the lane of all lanes. I guess a good place to start is picking. I guess I'll start reading from some of these notes, but feel free to like jump in at any time, or to take one of these points or anything like that. In terms of picking, I would say first things first, like a new meta staple. Pick one of your good heroes. Like, don't try and pick some random SF or like, oh my goodness, it's the perfect Storm game. Let's just pick Storm. Stuff like that's, to me, or just always a bait. I'm sure you will agree. Have like a solid set of heroes that you're good at and pick from one of them. Don't bait yourself into picking some bad pick, just because it seems good in the game. You've never played it before. Other than that, what other like key things do you think to look at when you're picking a hero, Marco, for mid? Because usually you're going to have the last pick, right? So it's quite important. You have a lot of information. You see all 4 of your teammates and 4 of the enemies usually.
Yeah, typically last pick. Thinking about mid, it feels like it's usually hard to go too wrong because most mid picks, the reasonable picks, like your int heroes, are always going to offer things you want, like Storm, Quap, Puck, Lina, lots of control, lots of damage, tempo, etc. It's more the grief mid picks like a Medusa, or a Troll or an Ember, or these agility heroes in the mid can be a bit griefy. Strength heroes, like an Alk, can be a grief, can be great, but isn't really typical. Kunkka's the classic mid pick. So yeah, I feel like most, if not all, int heroes are going to be really fine. You have to be careful of the extreme corner cases, say where your team's got no lockdown, for example, and then you've picking Furion, say, or Silence and mid. You do have to be careful of the extreme cases where your team's got a really lopsided synergy. Big one being lockdown, in which case you should be mindful of that and maybe don't pick Silencer. But typically, like 2/3 of games, you're going to be pretty Gucci, I think. As long as you don't, but you shouldn't counter yourself as well. I guess, like if they've got anti-mage and you pick Venom mid, something weird like this, or you pick Zeus into anti-mage. Yeah, obvious ones like that to avoid.
Yeah. Some other things that I like to think about, looking obviously at your own team, look at the type of offlaner you have. This is for someone like me who tends to have 2 different kinds of mids. I either play I basically either pretend I'm playing Underlord from mids and pick like Viper or Necro and build Atos Greaves and build into the sort of, I suppose, the archetypal offlane kind of items, your Greaves, your Pipe sort of thing. Or I play tempo or indeed higher damage heroes, like Lina. In the past, I've given Void Spirit a bit of a go, but your classic tempo sort of stuff. And when you're making that consideration, I think if your offlane is very high damage, certainly in lower level pubs, you'll see a lot of random, Wind Ranger 3 or like Weaver 3 or, all sorts of, sort of, I would say, griefy sort of offlane picks, high damage, very weak. in those cases, I think your best chance to win is to sort of play a sort of off lane from the mid, like I said. Pick your Viper or your Necro, or even your Underlord, like anything that just that's going to be building team items. Conversely, if you have an Underlord off lane, or you have, I don't know, a Centaur or some big fat hero building auras, that's when I think you shouldn't look at those heroes, because your team's going to need different things. They're going to want you to be dealing a lot of damage, and you're going to pick a sniper or an OD, or they need a playmaker, and you're going to be picking your Puck or your Storm or something, because you've got all the damage you need out of your one who's, a TB or something like that. So just sort of fitting the puzzle pieces together, I think, and the sort of the pressure, I guess you could call it, is on you. If they give you last pick, you sort of need to make a good decision about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think this is a maybe a difficult point to prove, but it's something that I've thought about in the past. I actually think in some ways, while it's true that in lower MMRs, you can pick a lot of heroes and win with, no doubt. If Marco or Adam go down and play an Archon, they'll be able to carry games from the mid with basically any hero. While that's true, I actually think for people playing in Archon and in lower MMRs, picking's really important, because people don't ever alter the way they play heroes. If they pick a Storm mid, or if they pick a Lina mid, they're going to build their items and play the game like they do in every single game. There's no adjustments being made, or the number of adjustments is really low. People tend to just play out their hero without thinking about much. So I actually think, conversely, picking can be more important in lower MMRs. People don't alter the way they play. They don't think, there's a completely uncountered enemy Leshrac that destroys all 5 of our heroes. We have to smoke and kill him before we take fights. Stuff like that doesn't happen. You just take fights, and the uncountered Lesh amazing pick just wins because it's that good in the game. So I do think that there's stuff to be said about picking.
Yeah, to add on to that, thinking about your pick point, whenever I've watched Gork in his climbing phases, or anyone going for a climb, particularly at the highest level, I know rank 1k plus Immortals isn't the norm, but that point exists where they'll do counter picks, and if they want to win and they want to have this plus 50% win rate, they will actively pick these good heroes. And it's similar to your point of people don't make adjustments, and it's like you abuse that by counter picking, in essence, really. And I'm not saying counter picking doesn't happen in pubs, but I do think that it's like similar point to adjusting your gameplay, thinking about your hero choice as a kind of counter, or not necessarily counter, but what is the best hero in this situation, and then adjusting your gameplay to that situation. I do think can really, really help you win more games, rather than just like you say, I've got this pool, and I'm gonna pick my heroes and play the games I want to pick and play, as opposed to taking into account, right, how can I kind of counter pick or adjust my gameplay.
Yeah.
Can I just quickly add on the picking your hero? Another, I think, decently straightforward way to consider it is there's a sliding scale of what your position 1 is. So I know you mentioned position 3. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
You can also look at your position 1 and have a sliding scale of how snoozy versus not snoozy is your 1. So are they AFK farming anti-mage, or slide up the scale? Are they going to be more active? Let's say Ricky, Weaver, someone like this in the safe lane, Ember Spirit, who's going to be active. There's very much a sliding scale from that safe laner, and you basically mirror that. So if they're more snoozy anti-mage, it's not the game to pick Tinker. Yeah. If they are someone like a Ricky, say this active hero, you don't necessarily have to go full active. I don't know who's an active mid. Full active Quap, say. You could actually take a foot back and go a bit greedier, maybe Necro that goes Radi, or some mid that's a bit more farm orientated. And so you balance it like that. I think that's a really strong way to... I think that's a way a lot of games are lost, when you have a mid and a core that do not synergize because they're both too AFK, or maybe they're both too kind of aggro early game and you don't have the late game.
Definitely. To put an example on that, I played a ranked game, I think a couple of days ago, where I made a terrible pick for multiple reasons. And one of the main reasons is exactly as you say, we had a PL carry that I already knew we had. So already that's snoozy. PL doesn't really get involved. That's a snoozy pick. So I shouldn't pick a snoozy hero. And I pick Meepo, which is snoozy for a while, should come online pretty quick with Blink, but it's still too snoozy to be played with a PL. That's not the real problem though. The real problem is that, the enemy mid sees PL, and so is going to pick a hero that's good against PL, more than likely. And so picking Meepo, another sort of, it's not an illusion hero, but a clone hero, whatever you're going to say, is really dumb because heroes that are good against PL are also good against Meepo, for the exact same reason. So I end up going against a Lesh, which is one of the worst possible, hard counters to Meepo. So that was just a terrible pick. And needless to say, we lost. Final point I'll make about last picking mid before I sort of flip the script, and I'm going to pose a question to Adam. But also think about your pos 4 as well. If you've got you've got a really sort of kill potential pos 4 that wants to rotate mid, wants to get kills, your Tusk, your Clockwork, your Tiny, stuff like that, then you really want to have kill potential when that happens, because if you don't, you're making the game really hard for your pos 4, I would say. So if you see a Tusk on your team, don't just pick, like, I don't know what a really neutral... I mean, Tusk basically gives every hero kill potential, but, you might want to think about not picking, I guess your Necros doesn't do a ton of damage, or your, I don't know, insert low kill potential hero here. You're probably going to want to pick a hero that can do a lot of stuff. Storm Spirit maybe you wouldn't want to pick because it's quite difficult to connect with sometimes with gank, stuff like that. So that's one other thing to think about.
Thinking about position 5. Oh, I'm like him.
That's the one position you don't have to think about, I would say.
Think about your coach.
Yeah, your coach. Yeah, what hero does he want to see you play? I was going to say to Adam, we've been talking a lot about last picking mid. Do you think that there's much utility in not last picking and picking in the second phase and letting your carry pick? I know you tend to pick a lot of the sort of classic green heroes. I'm thinking like Veno, stuff like that, and like I know you're usually picking them earlier. You're not saving the mid pick for last pick. And what sort of benefits do you think that gives you? And do you think that that's a sort of viable or even preferable strategy in pubs to pick a really solid hero that's gonna, not lose a lane and just be pretty good, and let your carry last pick?
Yeah, if you have an inkling or you have something that you want to play, I don't think there's anything wrong with just picking it and getting out of the way. I hate losing gold when people are just hovering over heroes without actually doing anything. So if I know what I want to play, which is pretty rare, but if I do know what I want to play in the moment, I will pick it. And I think that a lot of times that comes down to like versatile heroes. If you pick a Veno first phase, they don't really know where you're going to put it.
Yeah.
You can have that marked mid and your team knows, but the other team's like, that probably off lane, or that could be a 5 or a greedy 4. So, and I'm not saying that Veno 5 is good. I'm just saying I've seen it played very recently. Yeah, but if you think you can win your lane or be stable in it, I'd say go ahead and pick it because it leaves your carry open to counter pick. Like Viper, I'm cool with picking Viper second phase.
Totally agreed. Yeah,
super stable. Necro, Veno.
Necro is a little bit dicey sometimes. If they know you're going to play Necro mid, they can just pick like some leaner hero and hurt you a lot. But by and large, yeah, it's pretty safe. It's not like picking Tinker second phase or something,
Dazzle, Lena. I don't know. There's a lot of people, a lot of heroes are like fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe you're like a 3% dog in the lane, but like you can make that up with playing well or runes or just like being better.
Yeah.
Like Mirana's fine, or Wind Ranger's fine in like pretty much any lane.
Yeah, I would say so. I think like pick some snooze Magnus as well is like always fine. I think like Mag's going to be okay. Just recover in jungle if needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it's bad, recover in jungle. Smiley.
I think generally the last pick to the mid is going to be more powerful and valuable, given they're the hero that it's going to carry you later in the game, and I think is more.
You mean the safe lane carry?
Safe lane carry, yeah. It's going to be more punishing if they are counter picked or don't have the optimal pick. Whereas if you're mid, mostly you're going to be fine. Whoever you pick, you can pick a safe pick and not get shafted.
Yeah, you're not going to first pick
fine.
Shadow Fiend or something like that.
Yeah, and the consideration as well is if you're the mid and you're picking your hero last, you still don't know what your lane is probably because the enemy mid's probably last picking as well. Whereas if you were a carry last picking, you don't see your lane mid, which is the same as if you're last picking, but the carry now sees the lane that he's up against, which is to consider. Obviously the downside to that is the enemy mid is going to be picking against a hero that they know. But like we say, if you pick a solid hero, it's not necessarily too much of a disadvantage.
Yeah, I like picking the nebulous heroes. Like Razor could go in any one of the 3 lanes. Thano can go in any one of the 3 lanes.
Pudge, 1, 2, 3.
Or a 4 or a 5.
Smiley face.
You know, just real versatile heroes like Pudge.
Yeah. Moving on to the laning stage then, Marco, you've written body blocking creeps unappreciated. Do you want to elaborate on this?
Yeah, so just a simple concept of creep equilibrium, very much ignored in all games. And in the mid, I think it's very, very powerful. The mid, I mean, to my knowledge or my understanding of the lane, just get all your creeps. You don't have to go for cutthroat kills all the time. If you get all the last hits and all the denies, you've done a fantastic job. And I think we get too hooked up on the notion of kills or plays or ganks, and we forget the simple basics of CS creep stats or creep score, one of the two. So honestly, the point about body blocking is when the creep's coming back to your lane, you just give it a bit of a body block and you get yourself positioned on the top of your hill. You're not going to get harassed. You're going to CS a lot better. I see it when I watch streams, I see the pros do it all the time. And when I watch games, I see it happen never. And it's such a powerful little tool. Just, I'm playing mid, just try and get it into, what's it called? Try and get it second habit. Second nature, where you just get your creep block, and then equilibrium's nicely placed for you to CS. Super basic point, but I definitely think it's not done.
Well, I think it depends. A lot of people want to like fight with the rune, and it's like, okay, is a first blood better than your creep block?
No, I'm not on about the first wave. I'm on about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes into the game.
That is, yeah.
It's not. It doesn't happen, and then
it does not happen. That's the way you reset it. You reset it to your high ground stairs after you shove it into their tower, and then you like have won the lane all over again.
Yeah, you watch any pro game, 9 out of 10 creep like meetings. The pros will be body blocking every time to try and maximize that equilibrium in their favor, and it will never happen in pubs. It's such a massive tool to help you win the CS war and to not get peppered by harass.
Another thing about just creep manipulation in general, well, 2 things. First of all, if there's still creeps alive in the mid lane, while another 2 bunch of creeps or 2 waves of creeps are about to meet, pull them back, right click on an enemy to pull the creeps back towards your high ground just as the other ones arrive, so that they don't meet in the middle of the river where the other creeps are. That's just like a sort of an easy tip. Another one for creep manipulation is it's fine to tank creeps to guarantee their position on the top of your ramp. That's something that you'll see a lot of pros do and stuff like that. There's 2 creeps left because the enemy's killed them before you've killed their creeps. Rather than running under your own tower to presumably have a somewhat difficult CS under tower, just tank them for a bit. It's fine to like eat half a tango's worth of HP to make sure the next wave's like perfectly on your ramp. And not only is it perfectly on your ramp, there's also 2 extra enemy creep waves, so that makes it life really easy for you to make sure the next wave's there as well, because you're going to be able to deny and keep the wave there. Another point, Marco says to block the creeps, definitely, and also if you go back to block your creeps, you can block them for quite a while and then go and pull one of the side lanes one of the side camps, the small camp, without losing any creeps, because if the creep wave's on your ramp, you easily just go and stack and you won't lose anything. So that's something to do as well, especially if the lane's quite passive. That's just a general point as well. If it's a very farmy lane, make sure you're doing stacks and farming 2 camps at the same time and all of this sort of farm optimization stuff. I know I just played a game, Necro versus SF, and I think this is just a universal against Shadow Fiend. And other heroes that just nuke the wave out, say like Alina maybe. Make sure you're stacking, make sure you're farming, 2 camps at the same time. You can even pull mid camps into neutral camps and farm them all at the same time and stuff like that, funky stuff like that. Kind of a specialist point, I would suppose. Final point on creep manipulation as well. If the lane's really difficult, say you're a melee hero against a Monkey King, or, a melee hero against some Necro or something, or you're against a Viper that's just crushing, pull creeps back away from the enemy, into your tower, all sorts of stuff, just like keep pulling creeps back towards you, keep pulling creeps towards you, even if it's just pulling a couple of creeps into tower range for a few seconds, those like 2-3 tower hits, keep doing that, and eventually, they'll die. You don't even have to be necessarily contesting the CS if the tower gets the last hit, if the lane's hard enough. You just want to avoid getting all of your creeps denied, basically, because XP, after all, is one of the most critical things when it comes to mid lane, if not the most critical thing.
Another one about a hard lane countering the body blocking point is letting your creeps go into the enemy tower so that you have this swingy equilibrium, so that you're never kind of statically farming or harassing, and it's just swinging from tower to tower. If it's a tough lane, that is really desirable. But yeah, I mean, most cases, that's not really going to be the case. So underlining, I was thinking in my head just then, when you're talking about the power of creeps and XP, I'd way rather my mid laner have a 40-20 last hits denies at, say, 10 minutes than to be 3 up, 3 kills, but like 20 CS, 0 denies to the enemy mid laner. I would absolutely rather them sack any desire to kill the enemy mid and put 100% of focus on CS and securing gold XP. 100%. I think there is too much weight to put on aggression and hero killing, and people they'll lose out on so much gold and so much deny XP the other direction because of that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Adam, anything to say on laning mid? I mean, we haven't talked much about regen and stuff like that, like just managing your time, of like what items you want to buy and stuff like that.
Well, I guess it would come down to like probably whoever has the better courier usage is going to come out ahead on average. In that case, it's always really nice if you take really big trades and have your courier with regen coming or with your bottle coming, and then you fill back up and they are like 30 seconds behind you because they didn't think to do the same thing.
Definitely, yeah.
And then they didn't think you were going to do it, and then you just get like a wave and a half for free, or even better, they just like are cocky and stay around and you just kill them.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think it's a classic like click on the enemy hero always, no matter what position you are, but especially mid. First of all, you need to know whether they have fairy fires, and you also need to know how much regen they have, right? If they've got no salve and you've got a salve, then ramp up the aggression. Not too much, of course, don't want to tilt Marco if you're like missing a CS and stuff, but if they have no regen and you do, then let's go. You can even take a slightly unfavorable trade because you're just going to pop a salve and suddenly they can't get any CS and you're just getting all the CS, all the denies. And like Marco said, it's not about killing them, it's about them not having regen and therefore not being able to contest the creeps in the lane.
If I play mid and absolutely smash someone because they're a lower rank, typically the reason that happens isn't because I'm killing them over and over. It'll just because I deny them all XP and get all the gold for myself. And then, I'm now 2 levels ahead of you and I've got thousands more gold than you. I give zero shits that I've not got any kills and that you've got 0 deaths. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Although, to be fair, you did once lose a lane to an Ursa that just right-clicked on your hero and then took his hands off the keyboard. So kills do mean something, I guess.
That's Puck, right?
And I was Pucked. I was just crazy. I was crazy. It was like Legend as well. Like, unbelievable showing.
Yeah. I mean, even just going towards skill builds, I know this is sort of a very specialist sort of point, but in general, we're not top immortal players. If you're playing a hero like Tinker, max out your March of the Machines. If you're playing a hero like Viper, probably you want to prioritize getting points in W so you can accelerate your farm, building lots of points in laser and poison attack and missiles and all that stuff. Probably you're not going to be able to reap the rewards of that because the team's just not on the same page and, spell usages and all that and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We want to prioritize getting CS, I think.
Moving to the first rotations of the game. So as the mid, I think it's so critical that you are aware of these TP rotations. As we spoke about a lot of the time, you TP, you shouldn't be wasting it. So walk to a lane when you can. Your TP should be used because there's a reason to use it. For the mid, the classic case will be you've got a side lane being dived by the enemy team and you will TP rotate and possibly clean up. If that's kind of the classic and the kind of ideal scenario, really. There's then the scenario where you're this more rotating kind of mid. Let's say you're a Lina or a Quap, or even a Storm can rotate, or a Void Spirit can rotate. I think maybe a rune opening does that for you, or just kind of nature of one of your side lanes is you're going to look out for if there's kill potential naturally if you just kind of go and get it, walk and get it. But I think the biggest one that is underused or kind of fails most often is lack of TP rotations from the mid laner. I think as long as they're not some really hard farmer that is useless with rotations, I really think that they should be ready for that TP rotation. And I feel like I've played lots of games where they just don't care to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially when it comes to saving your position 1. That's very important at this point in the game. Well, all points in the game.
If I watch pro games all the time, 99% of the games I watch, I swear, the mid laner is TP into the side lane when activity's happening, either to kind of defend that lane or that tower or the heroes in that lane, or because there's kill opportunity and they can capitalize. I think it's just near guaranteed that you will be able to make a TP rotation as a mid if you've not wasted your TP and if your eyes are open and looking at the minimap.
But Marco, we've advised people to not get involved in silly fights.
No, pause one. We've advised pause one, not to.
Yeah, okay. Just clarifying that.
Yeah. You
pause
could be
one, get out of there. Mid, get in there. On the whole. And, unless you're playing some like Naga mid or something like you just said.
There's also a distinction between, and I've seen this in our games recently, if you're a pause one and walking from the far right side of the map to the mid lane, that is a trek. That is so much wasted time and just unbelievable. Just horrifying if you're a pod one to walk from your...
Unbelievable wasn't harsh enough of a word.
No, if you're pod one and you're walking from the bottom lane to the mid lane to potentially get involved in a fight, just awful. What I'm talking about with this mid rotation is you're TPing right to the event that you're wanting to get involved in. That is what TPs are for. You TP and instantaneously shit is going down and value is being added. That is how you rotate. Or you're smart and you rotate like in the mid Void Spirit and you go to a lane and get a kill. That's fine. That's your job, your tempo, do it. If you're a pause one, we're going to reiterate, you do not get involved. You definitely do not walk over to an event of interest. Unless it's Rosh.
Don't react to pings.
Yeah.
Adam, what do you think about like post laning on mid? I guess it's sort of like very hero dependent, isn't it? Do you think on these sort of tempo heroes, like your Pucks, your Quops, Lenas, Storms, how much at the post laning do you have your head down farming, and like, is it all reactive, or can you like look for specifically try and proactively like make stuff happen, or are you just sort of reacting to stuff on the map and farming?
I think you need to be very cognizant of your farm, and you don't need to be at every fight, and you don't need to make everything happen. You need to keep up with everyone else and farm, because creeps are important. Gold is important. You'll start to, and you don't get a bunch of gold just from killing people over and over again unless you're also taking towers with it. You want to be farming camps along the way, because you'll look down, but I've killed like 8 people in the last 20 minutes, last 10 minutes, and you're like behind their core because they've just been happily farming away, and then you're less effective. So it's about a balance. It's not about like see hero on the map, TP over there, kill. It's like, it's more like, I've pushed this lane in 2 creep waves. They're going to have to deal with this. I've taken the jungle on the way out. Now I'm going to TP to the other lane, and because they've overstayed their welcome, and I will kill the people that did not TP to take care of the waves I've just killed, type of a thing. If that makes sense. Get the kills that are on the way to you getting farm. Unless you're like some crazy, I don't know, tempo hero. It's like farm when your cooldowns are down. But some of these guys, their cooldowns are really short. Like Puck, seems like he fights. It fights all the time because Dream Coil is low cooldown. And Lena has a low cooldown Laguna. So those are much more likely to fight. But if you have like the regen, Lena farms all the creep waves along the way too. So I don't know, but I'm just rambling.
Yeah. No, I mean, to put my take on what you just say, in the earlier stages of the game, it's easier to play reactively than proactively, I would say. And later in the stages, this changed. But like on the whole, in pubs, it's a lot easier for enemies to play if you're diving them and being super proactive and like forcing it. There's been so many games that, you know, I mean, me and Marco were talking about this recently, where you're just sort of forcing the issue and like diving and doing things that you don't need to do when you don't have the strength to just blow a hero up instantly. I think about this a lot on a hero like Lena. When I'm playing Lena mid, and I'm sure that this can be is the same for other heroes, but I'm going to try and play reactively and, like Marco says, TP to points of interest as opposed to trying to make something happen until I have Yules. And then when I have Yules, I can be much more aggressive because I've got guaranteed setup, guaranteed kills, you know, with the combo, stuff like that. Again, maybe Tiny's another example. Until you have a Blink Dagger, you probably don't want to be like diving heroes on the enemy side of the map, crossing over the river to try and make stuff happen. You probably just want to be playing reactively, pouncing on enemies that are out of position without going out of position yourself. And obviously still TP into big fights and stuff like that, like Marco was saying. So I guess that's how I'd maybe spin it. Later in the game, being proactive becomes super, super important. That's why smoking to getting kills, and, you know, when you can heroes have gotten strong enough to just nuke instantly, then I think that switches a bit.
To add to the point about being proactive earlier in the game being an impediment, I think there's often a misunderstood idea of how to be proactive effectively. So the classic is, and we're both thinking about the same game, it's say 14, 15 minutes in the game, let's say 14 minutes, and you, the mid laner, maybe you're a tempo mid laner, and you feel like you need to make something happen, or your team's saying we need to make something happen. And what they'll do is they'll congregate mid and or go for some invasion into the enemy woods, because they're being aggressive and they're putting their foot down and they're going into the enemy's side of the map to try and find a kill. But often, like you say, that's then so easy for the enemy team to stop or to react to so easy because you're now deep and in a dangerous territory. It's hard to execute this kind of mindless run into the enemy jungle or through the mid lane. So easily stopped. I think the better way to be active in that, let's say, start of the mid game period, 14 minutes, is to play the side lanes. And if you want to be tempo because you're a mid and you need to put to use the fact that you've got a Laguna Blade or you've got your Dream Coil up, the best way to do it proactively is to play the side lanes and to be. You can either hide in the side lanes and you've got 2 creep camps to farm. You can stack and farm them and you're keeping up your farm. It's very important, like Adam said. But you're also in a kill potential scenario and you don't have to be mindless, headless chicken about it because you can just wait for someone to appear. You're positioned in the right place because you're aggressively in one of the side lanes and hidden. A hero appears and you kill them. That, to me, is effective, proactive mid-gameplay in this, say, 15 to 20-minute period, as opposed to like headless chicken runs through the forests trying to find a hero and dragging your team into a shit scenario and wasting time. And even if you did manage to find someone in the woods, like the POS 1, whoa, yeah, we just killed the POS 1 because we invaded the woods at 14 minutes. Who cares if you're not going to translate into map control or objectives? If you play the side lanes, find a kill in the side lanes, you're going to get tower, that's going to give map control, you're going to get more neutral camps, enemy neutral camps, that's denying them farm and giving you farm. You're going to get you're going to get all those map advantages. Creeps are going to get better push in. You're going to have easier time to get wards up, say, because of you've opened the map up, etc., etc. So I think for a tempo mid, yes, you do have to be wary of falling behind in farm, but I do think you can achieve that by putting your foot down in the side lanes. And some mids as well, you don't have to be this hide in the woods and get a gank. You can just be like a Viper. He can go and knock on a tier 1, and it's hard for the enemy team to do anything. So that's great, and that's going to get farm, and that's going to give you space and map control, etc. Or can you be like a more ganky mid that waits for the kill to happen, but is lingering in the right areas?
Yeah, definitely. There are some heroes, think about your Tinies, Quap, Lena, stuff like that you sort of want to be playing side lanes as soon as you get 6, honestly, really you can. As Tiny can play side lanes even earlier. Other heroes, your DKs, your Necros, Viper, you probably want to be unlocking the map less so by getting kills in the side lanes and more by getting that tier 1 mid first and then looking elsewhere, probably, all within, consideration of how the game's going and stuff, but just as like a general rule.
One of the biggest downfalls, I think, of the mid, and I've got a game in my mind where, so it's one of these 3-stack games where we lost, obviously, because we're a 3-stack, and the one of the randoms was mids. He's like a high legend or something, but a bit out of his depth, perhaps. And it was a Zeus, so Zeus is a spellcaster that does a lot of spell damage, if anyone wasn't aware. Has no control, has no farm capability.
No right click.
No right click. Okay, this is Zeus 101. But this guy was just deep in our woods farming. Like, he was hitting the triangle. He was just, I don't know if he felt a bit lost about what to do because it's a bit of a hard game. I can't remember my initial point. I'm just getting wound up by how bad this guy was.
Okay.
The point was, you can't farm that deep, and as the mid, typically you're not going to be some AFK snoozy naga. To get your farm, you can get it in the enemy's woods, or you can get it in. You can get it in the enemy's woods because then that positions you in a place where you can get kills.
Within reason,
Within reason, yeah. You're not going deep in the enemy woods, but you're still taking those first periphery camps, but on the enemy side of the map, and then that's where you want your hero to be positioned. In the side lanes, ready to get a kill or an objective. You can't connect with anyone as a mid if you're farming your triangle or farming your deep woods. If you're a Naga, fine. That's you're playing hard carry from mid, fine. But 90% of mids, you can't be positioned that deep. You've got to be playing on the side lanes, and you can get farm on the side lanes from the creeps and the jungle. So there's no excuse not to be there.
Yeah, especially when you're against an enemy that's hard farming. Like, I think this is what I love to do against heroes like Alk, Magnus, even SF to a lesser extent, but certainly like Magnus, Alchemist. Pick a hero that is tempo, like say you find yourself on a Void Spirit, a Lena, a Zeus, any hero. I just run at them in, it's way safer to be in the enemy jungle when you're against like a enemy Magnus. Even if he kills you with RP, you just go straight back and you're like, I'm just right clicking on this mag, stealing his camps, and he can't contest me because he's a Magnus without RP, you know, stuff like that. Like, think about stuff like that. Because those can be even greater incentives to do what you were saying.
If you're not a snoozy mid as well, I do think the mid hero should be helping to secure objectives and kills in a kind of aggressive, not too aggressive, but it's kind of aggressive stance. Like if you're playing a Lina, say, and you're not providing pressure on an enemy tower, and you're not providing kill potential in a side lane, that's not acceptable if you've got your Yules. If you're farming your Yules, then okay, you've got a bit of license and you need to farm in this little window, say. Yeah, say you've got a Yules and you're not doing one of those two objectives, I would really question what on earth you're doing.
Yeah, and even if you're farming the Yules, be to a point where you can connect. Don't just be like deep in your own jungle, like I'm farming Yules. Like farm it. You know, you might farm the triangle because you know there might be a skirmish happening nearby in that lane that's by the triangle. And then that's acceptable. And like you say, once you get the Yules, then suddenly you can be proactive because you're relatively so strong when you have the item. You know, you should just be getting guaranteed kill with the Yules reveal, stuff like that. Or not even the Yules reveal, just like for the rest of the game, honestly. So yeah,
say you pick up the Yules, I do think you've got responsibility to go to a side lane and get kill or kills with it, or just get a tower with it. And if they, make an objective happen, make something of value to the macro game happen once you hit a big timing like that.
Yeah. We've written here items huge, BKB underbought for certain. Adam mentioned this point recently. Adam, what is this? You a big fan of the BKB, is this? I don't know what this reference is referring to.
Adam said, I think a week or two ago, that pros buy BKB 1.5 times faster, or 1.5 times items earlier.
1.5 items earlier,
something like that.
Probably true. It's good.
Yeah, I believe you.
I don't think it matters the diminishing returns off of like, oh no, my 10-second BKB is gone now. 5 is still good. If you think about it, if you get earlier, you get to use it more. So you get more total seconds of magic immunity for your money.
Yeah. Do you think it sort of goes into the point of you're not POS 1 and going BKB rather than a more scaling item is fine because you're not POS 1 and like it's very important that you contribute to fights and stuff like that early, hence BKB being a good option, you know? Or do you think
usually you're like the highest your highest XP hero usually, and nothing feels worse than having most XP and a lot of gold and just running in and dying, just getting chain stunned right away and feeding away like a level to everybody.
Definitely.
You presumably picked a hero that goes mid and takes advantage of all the XP, so you want to like actually get to do the thing your hero is supposed to do. BKB just lets you do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think in general, slow and steady does win the race in the sense that it's fine. It's better to not die than to give yourself a little bit extra kill potential but risk dying. This sort of maybe changes as you go down the farm priority, but certainly for carries and I think for mids as well, you know, you want to prioritize not dying above most other things, because a lot of mistakes are made in pubs, countless mistakes. Enemies will give you opportunities to kill them, and you should perhaps one of your top priorities, despite all the stuff we've been saying about getting involved, is don't die on your hero.
I think with BKB as well, mids don't realize how much work they can do when they have BKB. I think because with a BKB, like Adam's saying, you've got no fear. You can just dive in. The enemy team can't touch you. 25 minutes in the game, or 20 to 25 minutes in the game, there is no threat from something that's physical. Like no one's going to abyssal you and kill you all of a sudden. And my point being, BKB can be useless in a late game scenario, but 20-25 minutes is always going to be hyper value. And I feel like a lot of mids in pubs don't realize that they can press BKB and fly in and just cause havoc and get loads of kills and make the fight happen that they want. I think they would feel weaker than they actually are, because people think of BKB as this, it is defensive
Team
in nature.
fight,
But
giant.
they think about, a team fight happens, so I'm going to pop BKB, and 5 times out of 10, people might use BKB to no added value, because I see it often. People just not panic, but they'll think use BKB because a team fight's happening. I can remember Stan using it and being like, "Why does he use BKB?" Like,
yeah, I'll do that all the time.
Just
I
wasteful.
press it.
Yeah, and it's fine. Yeah, you want to use it versus not use it, but you can definitely use it in ways where you then are like blink, like in the face of the enemy supports with your BKB on, or running at them as a leaner, just like hitting, running, BKB, and they can't touch you. And a lot of the time, I think mids won't realize how much work they can get done with that BKB usage, as opposed to just using it like second thought, team fight, let's use it now.
You just run in, BKB, all the supports are just like, oh no, my spells are useless. I can't do anything. And then you just run through the kinetic field that the Disruptor put down, blow him up before he can do anything, and then fight's won.
Yeah, like if
all it takes is a support to be dead, and you just got the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're a Storm or Quap, you can make these engagements happen and BKBs, and like Adam says, you'll mop up. And even if you just get 2 kills, say, and from that BKB, and like this point about but if I buy BKB too early, it's going to be low CD in the future. Who gives 2 shits? Use BKB today, get 2 +4, +5 kills. You can absolutely translate that into a tower and or map control, more farm than the enemy team, etc., macro benefits.
You've got a 5-second BKB, but you also got an extra item on the enemies. So
yeah.
Also, one other point, you mentioned how right clicks are low, like right click damage is low, especially when you get an early BKB. So you're actually you're made stronger than you think you are on these quote unquote fragile mid heroes. Also, right click I feel like is deceptive, because people look at enemy cores that have an MKB or a Mjolnir, and they see them right click and they think, wow, they're doing quite a lot of damage, but Mjolnir, Maelstrom proc, and MKB are all magic damage. I know MKB gives you damage as well, they both do, but a lot of that DPS is coming from magic, so it's actually like deceptively lower than you think it is. So just to sort of put an example on what Marco was saying about how right click is relatively low at this stage in the game, so you're tankier than you think you are. Any other thoughts about mid? Have we anything else to add?
When you get a kill mid, sometimes it's good to just die under their tower.
Yep, worth saying. Yeah,
they don't get gold, or they get gold, they don't get XP, and then just come back with a full refresh of everything. Because that's sometimes you just got this man fight in the mid. Oh, I won the trade, like I got a kill, so good, and then you don't bring out regen, and it's like, oh no, he comes back with full HP and mana, and I've lost the lane because he just zones me off for the next 2 minutes because I can't use my courier. So definitely totally okay to like die.
Yeah, definitely. Another point also on the lane is, if you're in a bottle versus bottle matchup or something like that, or if you're just in a lane that's very knife edge and rune will make the difference between a one lane and a lost lane, get one of your supports to come over for the bounty runes. I was just watching the Omega League, and in every game, supports were coming to contest both runes. Supports from both sides of the map were coming for these power runes at 4 minutes and 6 minutes. So it's very important, especially if it's bottle v bottle, just like shout at your offlaner when it gets to sort of like 3 minutes 30. Just be like, you have to come for this rune now, because it's going to make the difference between me winning my lane and losing my lane. So don't be afraid to ask for something like that. Well, yeah, that's the mid guide from New Meta, episode 105. Next week, I'm not sure exactly what's going on next week in terms of the pod. I think perhaps some kind of duopod situation. I know Marco's going on holiday for a while, so you won't be here next week.
I am on holiday from Saturday.
I'm also on holiday from Saturday, but I'm back on Thursday, so there's the difference. Where are you going on holiday? Where can the listeners find you?
Going to Kos, Greek island.
Oh, wow. Actually out of the country, Pog.
Yeah, man, big Pog.
Strong. I'm not leaving the country. I'm just going to the wonderful county of Dorset. So there you go.
Nice.
All right. Well, yeah.
A final point, maybe. If anyone's got any comments about what we've said in this episode, very happy to continue the discussion in the Discord. I think it's a very juicy topic.
Definitely.
If people have got questions, that'll be great.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for saying that. That's always good for me, especially, to talk about this topic. So, yeah. Have a final whistle, and until then, we'll see you next week.